The maze was a prison like no other.
We have our story to tell. People forget those thousands of loyalists went through those gates.
It witnessed internment, hunger strikes, escapes, and finally mass releases.
There's a possibility that they could become shrines to terrorism.
Often events on the inside influenced what was happening on the outside.
While we were in prison, we sought to continue to struggle.
12 years after it closed, it still inflames passions. The most recent controversy is over a new conference centre planned for the site.
Tonight on The View, we can reveal publicly for the first time what the new Peace Building and Conflict Resolution Centre will look like, exactly where it will be built, and how it will relate to the parts of the prison and other buildings that still exist on the Maze Longcash site. In spite of some calls for the entire prison to be demolished, part of it has been retained and given special or listed protection. The former entrance, command centre and hospital where the hunger strikers died are still there, as well as one of the H blocks. What's not so well known about the site is that it houses these impressive military exhibits. They're in a pair of World War II hangars which form part of the old RAF station which was there before the prison. These museum pieces have been moved to their new home by the Ulster Aviation Society, and the story they tell includes part of the military history of the old Longcash base. The evolving history of the site is the theme behind the plan designed with the help of the internationally acclaimed architect Daniel Libeskind, and this is what he's come up with. The new Peace Centre building, paid for mostly with an £18 million grant from Europe, will be a stand-alone structure. The distinctive design will contain an auditorium, conference and meeting rooms, as well as an exhibition space. But it lies outside the footprint of the former prison, but within the overall old MOD site. The parts of the jail that have been retained and the World War II hangars housing the aircraft exhibits are equally accessible from the new centre, but don't form part of it. The intention is to make each of the three attractions equally important, but equally separate, ensuring no bias is shown towards any of the different historical stories.
In the case of a site like this, obviously urban design and architecture has a very strong role to play, more so than it may do elsewhere. And therefore the skills of the architects and designers are very important here, because they're trying to create a balanced site and to keep everybody signed up to a project that under other circumstances would be difficult to do.
This new plan places a greater emphasis than before on the World War II history because of the centre's proximity to the old hangars and the role given to the former runways in linking other parts of the 350-acre site. Prisoners were among those consulted, including William Smith, one of the first loyalists sent there. He says the centre will send out a powerful message around the world.
It opens a door on the past. We can't just airbrush history. It happened. That part happened. But it's a chance, an opportunity for people to learn from the past. Not just people from Northern Ireland, but people from all over the world to learn about the past, about the violence and all that there, and the violence doesn't pay. And that we ourselves, even the ex-prisoner population who were in there, would reflect that too, that violence doesn't pay.
Former Republican prisoners like Shanna Walsh, who spent most of his adult life in the jail, were also consulted.
We, as former IRA prisoners, are interested to ensure that our story is told. But we also accept that there are other stories to be told in and around the site. And it's not, and by that I'm not just talking about the prison warders and the loyalist prisoners who were held there. I'm also talking about the British Army who were stationed there, who guarded us.
What Sinn Féin wants, Sinn Féin gets.
Already there have been protests against the proposed centre. These aren't the only voices of opposition. 30 prison officers, many who served in the maze, have been killed by paramilitaries. Their association wants the remains of the prison demolished.
We said from the outset, when the maze closed, then the maze should have been completely bulldozed and no buildings should have been kept. And we don't believe, as the interest of Northern Ireland, to keep anything of the past. We should all be attempting to move forward.
So, do you not think any of the former prisons should be retained?
If they want to build this new centre, then fine, if that's what they want to do. What is the benefit of retaining the old buildings like the East Blocks, the hospital complex, the admin block?
It's thought likely the DOE will give approval for the new centre shortly, so it seems planning won't derail this scheme. But that's not to say that politics couldn't. Just think back to what happened to the proposed multi-sport stadium. It never saw the light of day.